A key figure in humanistic psychology is American psychologist Abraham Maslow, who developed Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a theory of psychological health. We will be discussing this theory shortly, but first, a little more about Maslow himself. Maslow was born in 1908 in Brooklyn, New York, to poor Russian Jewish parents and is the oldest of 7 children. He has been known to describe his childhood as unhappy and lonely. Interestingly, he began his college studies in law and then later developed an interest in psychology and switched his studies. Maslow began teaching at Brooklyn College in the 1930s and continued to work as a member of the school's faculty for years, until the 1950s. During his time here, he was heavily influenced by Gestalt psychologist founder Max Wertheimer and anthropologist Ruth Benedict. Gestalt psychology is a school of thought that considers the human mind and behavior as a whole. This field of psychology suggests that humans don't focus on every small component. We instead think of objects as elements, which are parts to the whole. Maslow believed that Max and Ruth were such exceptional people that he began to analyze and take notes on their behavior. This analysis served as the basis for Maslow's theories and research on human potential. This observation and interest led to Maslow becoming a founder and driver of humanistic psychology. Maslow developed the hierarchy of needs to explain human motivation and psychological health. He often stressed that people were more than just a bag of symptoms, and that their positive qualities needed attention as well. Maslow's humanistic approach, which focused on the positive aspects of human nature, was a lot different than the psychoanalytic and behavioral theories that were prominent at the time, as they focused on the negative aspects of human existence and the afflictions that affected the human mind. Maslow wrote, "It is as if Freud supplied us the sick half of psychology, and we must now fill it with the healthy half." Maslow's theory suggested that in order for people to pay attention to their higher needs, their basic needs must be met first. The theory details that the more people move up the hierarchy, the more they pursue social, emotional, and self-actualizing needs. Eventually, Maslow became one of the founders and leaders in humanistic psychology. Humanistic psychology emphasizes looking at the whole individual and centers on self-actualization, free will, and self-efficacy. The field aims to help people fulfill their potential in a positive way and not focus on dysfunction. Maslow notes that self-actualization is not an endpoint or a destination to get to. It is actually an ongoing process in which people continue to challenge themselves to achieve new levels. So, with self-actualization at its pinnacle, let's break down Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The hierarchy is depicted as a pyramid with 5 tiers, each tier depicting a different aspect of human needs: physiological, safety, love, belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. The bottom tiers represent basic needs, and the top and utmost tier represents self-actualization. Maslow initially argued that as humans are able to fulfill basic needs, they are then able to move on to emotional, social, and self-fulfillment needs. Maslow details that our most basic needs as human beings are our physiological needs. Physiological needs are biological requirements for human survival. This includes food, water, shelter, and sleep. Next, but still, a basic need is security needs. With this need, people are able to experience order and control in their lives through security and safety. After basic needs are our psychological needs. The first psychological need is belongingness and love. This tier explores the human emotional need for connection, belongingness, and love, which can be experienced through intimate relationships and friendships. Next on the hierarchy of psychological needs are esteem needs. This involves prestige, self-worth, and a feeling of accomplishment. Last but not least, at the top of the hierarchy are our self-fulfillment needs, namely self-actualization, which is achieving one's full potential, including creative and intellectual activities. Interestingly, Maslow believed that few people are actually able to reach the level of self-actualization, but all humans can have peak experiences. These are personally significant events such as winning an award or becoming a parent that are an achievement but difficult to maintain consistently. It is important to note that over the years, Maslow made some important revisions to his initial theory, admitting that this hierarchy is not linear nor as rigid as he initially proposed. Instead, It is flexible and based on external and individual circumstances and differences. Humans are dynamic, and some needs may be more important to some than others, as well as we can experience multiple needs at the same time. Today, Maslow is remembered as one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century and has made a host of important contributions to the field of humanistic psychology. His work in humanistic psychology influenced the rise of different therapies, such as Carl Rogers' client-centered therapy. He provided a different outlook to the sick half of psychology, psychoanalytics, and stressed the major differences between humans and animals, behaviorism. His influence can still be seen today in how we view mental health and personal growth, as well as how we value peak experiences and human potential. The field as we know it would look very different if it were not for him.